Alright, the pandas.pivot function reshapes a data frame from long to a wide format by spreading rows into columns. This is useful for structuring data for easier analysis or visualization. Pandas.pivot has 4 parameters. Have data parameter, index parameter, columns parameter, and value parameter. Let's start see data parameter. The data parameter is the data frame to be pivoted. This is the input data in long format, which will be reshaped into a wide format using the pivot function. Let's create a data frame. Let's create a data frame. If we pivot this data, data parameter here accepts df long as input. Df long data frame as empty data. The next parameter is columns parameter. It specifies which columns to use to make a new frame's columns. So this columns parameter accepts string. It can accept object or list of strings. Let's start to see when it accepts string. Columns can accept a string like subject here. If you want to find columns of subject here, math, for example, if you want subject data to be your columns, you can consider subject as a string. Here subject acts as a string and the columns parameter accepts string. When columns is a list of string, for example here we subject and term. Okay, let's create a data frame. Let's create a data frame. When columns is a list of strings such as subject and term, a multi-level column index is created. Here subject and term. Each unique combination of values from these columns become part of the new columns in the pivoted data frame. So columns also accept list of strings like here, subject and term. The index parameter specify which columns to use when to make new frames index. If not given, it uses existing index, and this string parameter accepts string, object or list of strings and is optional. When index is a string, let's create data frame and see how the index can accept a string. For example, here like name in this data frame df long. Index can accept a list of string. For example, in this data frame it can accept name and class to be as index. A multi-level index is created. This allows you to group by multiple columns, creating hierarchical structure in the pivoted data frame. So from this data frame, index can accept a list of strings like name and class. From this data frame, index can accept so here you could see index can accept a list of strings like name and class. Let's move on to values parameter. The values parameter specifies which columns to use for populating new frames values, and if not specified, all remaining columns will be used, and the result will have hierarchical indexed columns. And it can accept string, object or list of strings, and it is optional. When values accept string, or you just specify one column name, the values becomes like a string. The values accept a string. So values can accept a string, a one column. Let's use this data frame to demonstrate that. Let's use this data frame to demonstrate when values accept strings, like a score here. Let's use this data frame to df long to show when values accept a score or a string. Values can also accept list of strings like math and science. From this data frame, values can accept list of strings like math and science. If the values is not specified, all remaining columns will be used as values except the name column or the first column. Here if the values parameter is not specified, all remaining columns will be used as values. You can see here values parameter is not specified, and the remaining columns will be used as values except the year and name, which is for index and the columns respectively. You see, the remaining columns has been used as values.